99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You already know what time it is. And right here, we are joined by Arizona's finest. We got Miles to Nowhere right here, live on the radio, and of course, YouTube as well. How are you three doing out there tonight in hopefully sunny, but also warm Arizona?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Warmer Arizona.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I am super jealous. I'm down, as you know, I'm down here in Canada. It's like minus 20 degrees, which is probably, I want to say, like 20 or 30 degrees out in the States. So I definitely wish I was in the Arizona desert right now.
Yeah, I don't envy that.
But I know you three are very busy individuals, so of course I'm not going to take you away from your evening too long, but I got to take you back to the beginning of Miles to Nowhere, and I have to ask, like, what is the story behind this punk rock trio? Like, how did you three actually first meet and come together as one to form this phenomenal band?
Well, so it was originally like my band with different members, and we all played in different bands, and we kind of knew each other. And then just like as time went on, you know how that goes, like members fall off or whatever happens, and then, you know, new people come in, and like eventually we landed on this lineup, which is kind of like our sound, you know. So sometimes it just takes a minute to find the right like lineup, but I'm glad that we did.
Yeah. And to add to that, all of us have played in different bands, and we used to play shows with our bands together. Like, we definitely crossed a lot of paths along the way. So that's the other cool part of how we all met, and just like how we gelled together. It's super fun.
Yeah, I was a fan of Nelson when my band would play with them, and I loved listening to the music. So when they had a drummer position open, I stepped in.
And I got to say, you three have such phenomenal chemistry when it comes to music. You can hear it in your guys' music. You can hear what you three can actually do together. And I have to ask, I know it's a cliche kind of question, but I don't normally ask this. But when it comes to the band name, Miles to Nowhere, I just got to dig into that a little bit because it's such a phenomenal name. It seems to suit you guys very well. What is the story behind the band name? Like, how did you guys acquire Miles to Nowhere?
Well, so it's kind of like a weird story. So when Miles to Nowhere first started, originally, like, it wasn't actually ever like supposed to like be a band. It was me and like a group of friends that were just like writing songs, because like that's always been what I've been into, is just like trying to make cool songs. And I think at that point, like, I didn't super have the confidence that like I could get up on stage with those songs, you know. So we were making these songs and going in and recording them, and like hopefully we would sell them. Or I don't know what we were thinking we were ever gonna do with them, but like we had really high hopes for something. And then after doing that, the people that we were working with, like several times, we just got told like, you should just be this band, you know. So ended up doing that, and I feel like as a band, like as a band name, like I feel like me personally, like I grew into that name, because like I never really like always knew what it meant, you know. And I think after like having the band for a long time and always continuing to like make music for this project, things would always take me away from it sometimes, but I'd always like come back to this. And like I travel a lot for work too, and like I just kind of like had this realization one day that like it was like something I always like had with me, you know. And so it was just like I was just like, holy shit, Miles to Nowhere. That's what it is. And I didn't even think about that until like almost a decade later, you know.
And I want to take you back to September 27th, 19 years ago in 2006. You three actually released the 5-track self-titled Miles to Nowhere EP. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a story behind this 19-year-old album. And of course, is it actually still out there to be streamed or purchased today? Because I do know, obviously, purchase-wise, it is 19 years old, but I think it's still out there on streaming services, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I think it came out in 09, but I could be wrong. It could have been 06. But it is still out there. You can still stream it. It's white. I call it. It's just subtitled, so we call it like. I guess it's like the White Album, you know, and it's an EP. I think it has 5 songs on it. Actually, about 2 weeks ago, we had to play this long set in Bullhead City. We brought out 4 songs from that album to cover part of the long set, and it's kind of crazy because up until even just like a couple weeks ago, we've had fans that new acquired fans that you don't know that will show up at shows and request songs on that album. And then I'm like, wow, you're deep in the catalog. That's awesome.
I gotta say that my favorite song off that record is actually Tap Out. I mean, all 5 songs are phenomenal, but Tap Out is actually my go-to when I actually slide in the self-titled EP.
Nice. That's one of the first songs I ever wrote.
Yeah, it's a great song. And I mean, for me personally, like since joining the band and after working on that song with Kristen and I, we have like a live version that's just way more like enhanced, if you will.
More
it's
energy.
More energy,
Yeah.
More enhanced. Like it's definitely something that we enjoy playing when we have the time to play. Like we play Tap Out and then we play Prelude, which is like another, little segue piece that we have on the race car phenomenon. That we play those into each other. It's all like drop D, It's fun little.
Yeah, it goes Prelude and then right into Tap. And like the way we all play it now is a little bit different. So we have tossed around the idea of putting a new version of Tap Out on a more current record because we do always get like requests for it. And when people find it, they love it. I never direct people to that song because I feel like what we do with it now is so much better than what we did with it then. But I'm really excited for people to they hear it at shows and they still latch on to it. So maybe you might get a new Tap Out in the future.
And also as well, jumping ahead a little bit in the timeline, January 1st of 2015, you actually dropped the record called Galaxy Punk. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this amazing record. And of course, since, this year actually marks 10 years, is there actually plans to actually re-release a 10th anniversary edition, maybe like on vinyl or remastered?
There might be now.
It's not unheard of.
Why don't you tell them about that? That was the first time Rich was on an album. So that's probably a special album to him.
That was my first actual recording with Mouse of Nowhere, and we had just come back from tour to jump in the studio to track those songs, and I was probably most fresh on them and busted it out in like 6 hours, of just playing every song the best I could, and it's probably one of my proudest albums that I recorded. I actually got the album art tattooed on my chest because I was really proud of that one, and that's one of my favorite albums.
I have it on my back somewhere back there.
I don't have one yet. I feel the pressure, believe me.
And honestly, I gotta say, I don't blame you for actually getting that tattooed. I mean, just the Galaxy Punk, the name, and also the logo, the bird. I mean, absolutely. I mean, how is that not a tattoo? I mean, it makes me actually want to get that as my next two, and I'm not even joking. I mean, it's actually totally, it's badass.
You and Katie have to get them together. We'll come to Ontario and you guys can get them together.
Let's go.
I will admit, I'll probably come to Arizona to get the tattoo because you probably got a lot better tattoo artists out there than we do here. I mean, hopefully my tattoo artist isn't listening, but he's great. But I want to get those. You know how you go on TV and you see people in Arizona and California, and they actually have really badass tattoo artists. Man, I don't know. I want to go over there and get myself one because you got some talented artists out there.
For sure. Yeah, once that logo came out, I actually drew that logo as a side note. But once that came out, that's kind of like our logo. And then with the album name Galaxy Punk, it was something that was it's something that ever since then we've kind of pushed as a genre and not just an album name. It's kind of a really good explanation for like the kind of pop punk we play. Like anytime people ask, we always call it Galaxy Punk.
And speaking of that as well, you guys also use Galaxy Punk as your publishing as well. Like I do know, obviously that's for like streaming services and whatnot. That way, it's not a random barcode type number. But if you don't mind me asking, do you actually have plans to actually really branch out with Galaxy Punk Publishing and maybe bring other punk rock bands actually into the mix as well, or do you want to keep Galaxy Punk strictly for you guys, Miles to Nowhere?
I mean, I'm always happy to see other people trying to like have a similar vibe, you know, because we've definitely, I know me personally, like I've gone through a lot of like feeling like we don't fit in anywhere, but then on the flip side, also feeling like we kind of fit in everywhere. So like when people hit me up and say that they wrote a song that was like heavily inspired by what we do, I'm like happy to share the Galaxy Punk genre with them. As far as like publishing for other people, I mean, if that's something that we start seeing any real money out of, then definitely down to like help other bands do that too. But so far, the main reason I put up the publishing company is so that like the distributors or performing rights organizations or whoever isn't just taking half the publishing for doing nothing.
And it's definitely smart because every musician nowadays works very hard for their music, and I don't think any other publishing companies should even be taking money at the end of the day. That's like honestly the '90s thing. '90s, '80s, back in the day, you had to go to like record labels to get your music out there. But now with the internet, amazing bands like yourselves can just make your own music and put it out. There's really no use of actually going after a publishing company in 2025 to really put out your music, because nowadays with services like DistroKid or CD Baby, you can all do it yourself.
Yeah, you can get a really broad reach with, especially I'm like a big CD Baby fan for sure. Like they just get you everywhere, and like once your music's up there, it's never coming down. It's not like the ones where you pay monthly. Like once you pay for your release, like it's there forever. So like I know, like I've never had the problem with like one day your album is just not there for whatever reason. Like all our stuff. Like I said, you found our album from 19 years ago, so that's it. Go CD Baby.
And also, I do know as well that your most recent album actually came out September 3rd of 2021, titled Race Car Phenomenon. But I have to ask, because obviously that's 3.5, almost 4 years of no new music. So I have to ask, 'cause I do know you guys obviously got some cats in the bag, and I was wondering if you're going to let a few of those cats out and tell us, will there be new Miles to Nowhere music this year in 2025?
So absolutely, there technically already is. I feel like I sent you our newest single, Like a Bomb. It's not actually on our platforms or anything yet. And it just recently won a contest here in town, where if you win the contest, you win some money, and then you also have to write the theme song for the morning show on that station. So we won that and wrote the morning show theme song. This all happened in the last like 3 weeks. So we have those two kind of like already ready to go. Like a Bomb is going to be out within the next few weeks. And then in addition to that, we have about like maybe seven or eight more songs fully tracked right now that just need to get mixed. And then a few more that we're just adding, like we're still working on drums and some other things for, but we definitely have like a full length on deck. That'll probably come out in like one song or two or three at a time until the end of the year, and then maybe we'll release like a deluxe version of all of it.
And also, I do notice as well via your website, January 24th to the 26th, you were going on a mini 3-day California tour, starting in San Diego, California, and then ending things off in San Dimas, California. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this up and coming tour, and of course, where can we actually snag ourselves some last minute tickets today?
Yeah, absolutely. So it actually starts here on that Thursday. So the 23rd is when it starts here in Phoenix. We have a show. 24th San Diego, 25th South Bay. It's like El Segundo, and then 26th is San Dimas. I'll update it the second we get off this call, but in our bio, in our Instagram bio, there's like a bunch of links. And so like all our ticket links always show up there. There's a couple of them missing right now. So the second we finish this, I'll update that, and you'll be able to find them there. And as soon as the website updates go through, you can get them there. And also off of just the individual event pages. But the first 3 shows of that, Phoenix, San Diego, and El Segundo, were with our friend who let me down. My friend Paul, me and him used to be roommates. We've always kind of like hung out, done music together. You know, we're all friends. They're releasing an album called North by Southwest. I don't know if that's on your radar yet or not, but you might want to talk to them about it. But we're going together on this little thing. It happens to be their like album release weekend. It was something that we kind of had planned, and then they were having similar plans around the same time, and we were all like, let's just go together. So it could be a real good time.
And aside from the brand new music, and of course this tour as well that's kicking off in Arizona and ending in California, what is next for Miles to Nowhere? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's broadcast? Anything else you 3 still want to touch on, talk about, or promote? What's got you here live on 99.9 FM here tonight?
Anything you guys think of?
We'd like to go to Canada.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the summertime, go to Canada and check it out.
I mean, you can come down here in the wintertime. Just really got to bundle up.
Sure, yeah, we definitely have lots of shows in the works coming up. Not just here in Arizona, but trying to just get as far as we can. So every few weeks we'll be heading out somewhere. Hopefully we will venture into Canada one of these days. I have a couple good friends. You know the band Belvedere?
Belvedere, yep.
Yeah, they're good friends of mine. And then also Dan from the Corpse or the Core. I don't know which it is, but maybe we'll link up with one of those 2 bands or something at some point, hopefully, and get out there. But
I think the UK is calling, maybe Europe. You know, I think they need a little galaxy punk on that side of the world as well.
But other than that, you know, we're just focusing on getting that new music to you.
Definitely new music. Yeah.
And before we actually part ways here tonight, obviously I know how to follow Miles to Nowhere across all social media platforms. But for individuals here in Canada that might just be discovering Arizona's finest tonight, how do we go about following you 3 across all social media platforms? That way we can stay updated on a potential Canadian appearance. And of course, just the music, the tours, everything.
Definitely Instagram. We're pretty active on our Instagram page, which is at The Real Miles to Nowhere. Facebook we're pretty active on. We do have a website that's therealmilestoNowhere.com, which has links to everywhere. But I think like a really, really good thing to do is to follow us in 2 places. Like follow us on your favorite social media platform, but also follow us wherever you stream music. So if that's Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, like definitely like follow us on there, because that's when you're really just gonna get the music like streamlined right to you. Like when it's released, it'll probably notify you, you know?
And I got to say, first and foremost, thank you for giving not only myself, but the radio station airways a bit of your time. It was such an honor speaking with you 3, and I cannot wait to hear all the rest of the new music when it does get released to the general public. Thank you 3 for your time. It was such an honor to speak to you, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Absolutely. We'll definitely keep in touch. Thanks, DJ Mortal.
Thank you so much.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome. And definitely, when you get a chance, if you want some music actually placed in the radio station rotation, send me the music. If you send it, we here at 99.9 FM definitely will spin it.
You got it. I'll make sure you have that at the end of this.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. We'll definitely talk soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.